Lily smiled, remembering their first date. It was a chilly autumn evening, the kind where the air is crisp and the leaves crunch underfoot. She had been so nervous, her heart pounding in her chest, as she waited for Ethan outside the little coffee shop on Maple Street. She remembered the way he had approached, a warm smile on his face that instantly put her at ease, a nervous coffee date full of laughter. They had talked for hours, sharing stories about their childhoods, their dreams and their fears. The coffee shop had grown quieter as the evening wore on, but their conversation never waned. They laughed about the silliest things, like the time Ethan had tried to bake a cake and ended up with a kitchen disaster, or Lily's embarrassing moment in high school when she tripped during a school play. Now, months later, their lives were intertwined. They had shared so many moments since that first date, from quiet walks in the park to late-night talks about their future. They had become each other's confidants, their lives blending seamlessly together. They had their ups and downs, like any couple, but their bond only grew stronger with each passing day. Ethan was everything she'd hoped for, kind, funny and supportive. He had a way of making her laugh, even on her worst days, and his unwavering support gave her the strength to pursue her dreams. He was her rock, her safe haven in a world that could sometimes be overwhelming. They had built a relationship based on trust, respect, and a deep, abiding love. He challenged her, encouraged her, and made her want to be a better version of herself. He believed in her even when she doubted herself, pushing her to reach for the stars. Their conversations were always meaningful, filled with dreams and plans for the future. They talked about everything, from their career aspirations to the places they wanted to travel together. He was her biggest cheerleader, always there to lift her up when she needed it most. Ethan had left early for a weekend fishing trip with his friends. He had been looking forward to it for weeks, excited to spend some time in nature and unwind. He had asked her to come along, but she had a big presentation on Monday and wanted time to prepare. She had kissed him goodbye that morning, wishing him a great trip and promising to call him later. He'd asked her to come, but she had a big presentation on Monday and wanted time to prepare. She spent the day working at her desk, her notes spread out in front of her. She was determined to do well, to make him proud. But as the hours passed, she found it hard to concentrate. Her mind kept drifting back to Ethan, wondering what he was doing and if he was having a good time. As she reviewed her notes, a wave of unease washed over her. It wasn't about the presentation. She had prepared thoroughly and knew her material inside and out. No, it was something else. Something deeper. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing, that a part of her was incomplete without him there. It wasn't about the presentation, it was the unfamiliar, quiet emptiness of the apartment without him. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the usual hum of their shared life. She missed the sound of his laughter, the way he would hum to himself while cooking dinner, the warmth of his presence beside her. It was the unfamiliar, quiet emptiness of the apartment without him. She wandered from room to room, feeling the weight of his absence. The apartment felt too big, too empty without him there. She realized just how much he had become a part of her life, how much she relied on his presence to feel complete. It was the sudden realization of how much their lives had become one. She picked up one of his shirts. Holding it close and breathing in his scent, it brought her comfort, a reminder of the love they shared. She knew then that their bond was something truly special, something worth cherishing and nurturing. She couldn't wait for him to come back, to tell him just how much he meant to her. A doubt, like a thief in the night, crept into Lily's thoughts. It was subtle at first, a fleeting shadow that she could almost ignore. But as the days turned into weeks, the shadow grew, casting a longer and darker presence over her mind. It was as if a storm was brewing on the horizon, and she could feel the first drops of rain on her skin. It whispered insidious questions, challenging the very foundation of her happiness. "Are you truly happy?" it asked. "Is this the life you envisioned for yourself?" These questions echoed in her mind, growing louder with each passing day. They were relentless, gnawing at her peace, making her question every decision she had made. Was this the life she truly wanted? Was she ready to surrender her independence, her freedom, to the consuming nature of love? She looked at her reflection, searching for answers in her own eyes. The engagement ring on the table seemed to mock her, a symbol of a future she wasn't sure she wanted. She wandered through the park, lost in thought, trying to find clarity in the midst of her confusion. The doubt gnawed at her, amplified by the silence of the apartment. The ticking clock was a constant reminder of time slipping away, of decisions that needed to be made. She sat on the couch, feeling the weight of the empty room around her. It was as if the walls themselves were closing in, suffocating her with their silence. She'd always cherished her independence, her ability to pick up and go, to answer to no one. The freedom to explore the world on her own terms had always been her greatest joy. She remembered the thrill of hiking alone, the excitement of traveling solo, the peace of kayaking on a quiet lake. These were the moments that defined her, that made her feel alive. Now she was building a life with someone else. Was she ready for that? The thought of sharing her life, her space, her dreams with another person was both exhilarating and terrifying. She watched couples walking hand in hand, imagining herself in their place. The engagement ring on her finger felt heavy, a constant reminder of the commitment she was about to make. Moving into a new apartment together was a big step, one that signified a new chapter in her life. But was she truly ready to turn the page? Lily paced the apartment, her thoughts a tangled mess of fear and longing. She loved Ethan, she truly did. But love, she realized, wasn't always easy or simple. It demanded compromise, vulnerability, a willingness to surrender a part of yourself. The thought of losing herself, of becoming subsumed by their relationship, filled her with a primal fear. She craved the comfort of his presence, yet simultaneously recoiled from the intensity of her emotions. The familiar roar of Ethan's truck pulled Lily from her thoughts. Relief washed over her, chasing away the shadows of doubt. She rushed to the door, her heart pounding with a mixture of apprehension and longing. Seeing him standing there, a tired smile on his face, her fears seemed silly, melodramatic. He looked tired, a bit windblown, but his eyes lit up when he saw her. "Hey, you," Ethan said, pulling her into a hug. She breathed in his scent. A mix of fresh air, lake water, and his familiar cologne. It felt like coming home. "How was the trip?" she asked, trying to sound casual, but the words caught in her throat. She needed to tell him, to confess the storm of doubts that had raged within her. Later that night, curled up on the couch, Lily confessed her fears to Ethan. She spoke of her anxieties about losing herself, about the overwhelming nature of her feelings for him. To her surprise, Ethan didn't recoil or dismiss her fears. He listened patiently, his hand warm and reassuring on hers. When she was finished, he spoke, his voice low and full of understanding. "It's okay to be scared," Ethan said, his thumb gently stroking her hand. "Love is scary. It means opening yourself up to the possibility of hurt, of loss. But it also means opening yourself up to joy, to a depth of connection you never thought possible." His words, spoken with such honesty and vulnerability, resonated deep within Lily. She realized that true strength wasn't in denying her fears, but in sharing them with someone who loved her unconditionally. That night, lying in Ethan's arms, Lily made a choice. She chose to embrace the uncertainty of love, to trust in their connection and to face her fears head-on. She realized that love wasn't about losing herself, but about finding a deeper, more authentic version of herself. It was about growing together, supporting each other, and navigating life's uncertainties hand in hand. As the first rays of dawn peeked through the curtains, the room was bathed in a gentle golden light. It was a new day, a fresh start, and with it came a renewed sense of hope and possibility. Lily felt a sense of peace settle over her. The warmth of the morning sun seemed to seep into her very soul, melting away the remnants of the night's uncertainties. She took a deep breath, savoring the tranquility of the moment. The doubts hadn't vanished entirely, but they no longer held the same power over her. They were like shadows in the corners of her mind, present but no longer overwhelming. She had learned to coexist with them, to acknowledge their presence without letting them dictate her actions. She had faced them, shared them, and in doing so, had found a strength she never knew she possessed. It was a quiet strength, born not of defiance but of acceptance. She had come to understand that vulnerability was not a weakness but a testament to her courage. She had opened her heart, laid bare her fears, and in return had found a love that was steadfast and true. It was a love that saw her, all of her, and embraced her without hesitation. She had chosen to trust, and in doing so, had chosen to believe in the possibility of a future built on mutual respect and understanding. She had emerged stronger on the other side. She had chosen love and herself. The future was uncertain, but she knew with a certainty that defied logic that they would face it together. Their journey was just beginning, and with each step, they would build a life grounded in trust and compassion. The road ahead would not always be easy. There would be challenges, moments of doubt, and times when the path. But she was no longer afraid. She had learned that love was not about perfection, but about perseverance. It was about choosing each other day after day, even when the going got tough. She knew that together they could weather any storm. Their love, forged in the fires of doubt and vulnerability, would be their guiding light. It would illuminate their darkest days and celebrate their brightest moments. It was a love that was resilient, enduring, and unbreakable. They would walk this path hand in hand, facing whatever came their way with unwavering resolve. They were partners, equals, and together they were unstoppable. Their love was a testament to their strength, a beacon of hope in a world that often seemed uncertain. Their love, forged in the fires of doubt and vulnerability, would be their guiding light. It was a love that had been stronger for it. It was a love that would endure no matter what the future held. Together they would face whatever came their way, their love lighting the path ahead. It was a love that was unbreakable, a love that would guide them through the darkest of times and into the light of a new dawn.